Nakakagulat na eksena noong Oktubre 28, 2024 sa isang squatter area sa Tondo, Manila. Mga residente ay nagulat nang makita si Senator Manny Pacquiao. Walang media coverage, walang camera crew, walang bodyguards na napakarami. Naglalakad mag-isa sa putikan, carrying plastic bags filled with cash. Personalmente nagbibigay ng tulong sa mahihirap na pamilya na nawala ng tahanan dahil sa sunog na tumupok sa mahigit 300 houses 2 days earlier. Mga tao initially akala nila imposible na tunay na Pacman ang andoon kasi bakit naman pupunta ang billionaire senator sa pinakamadumi at mapanganib na lugar ng Metro Manila without publicity. Pero when they realized totoo, tears flowing, people dropping to knees, hindi dahil sa pera, pero dahil may politician pa pala talaga na may pakialam. Kumusta mga kaibigan? Bago tayo magsimula sa absolutely powerful story na ito, tungkol sa moment kung kailan ipinakita ni Manny Pacquiao na hindi siya ordinaryong politiko na puro salita lang at photo ops, kundi tunay na tao na nagmula sa kahirapan at hindi nakalimot kung saan siya nanggaling, gusto kong malaman. Nasaan kayo ngayon nanonood? Taga Manila ba kayo? Mindanao? Visayas? O kaya abroad, pero Pinoy pa rin ang puso? Comment below ng exact location ninyo. At tanong ko rin, naniniwala ba kayo na may politicians pa na tunay na tumutulong o lahat sila puro show lang? Subscribe para sa inspiring stories. I-on ang notifications. Mag-like, share sa lahat. Simulan na natin. Si Manny Pacquiao, born Emmanuel Dapidran Pacquiao, noong December 17, 1978 sa Kibawe, Bukidnon Province, grew up in poverty. So extreme na imposible para sa maraming privileged Filipinos na i-imagine. Family lived sa nipa hut na walang electricity, walang running water, walang proper flooring. Just packed dirt. Father Rosalio worked as farm laborer earning approximately $50 monthly, barely enough to feed 6 children. Mother Dionysia struggled as homemaker, sometimes walking kilometers to fetch water from communal well. Young Manny often went to bed hungry, sleeping on floor covered only by thin blankets shared with siblings, dropping out of school at 14, not because ayaw niya mag-aral, but because literally walang pambili ng school supplies, walang pang transportation, kailangan magtrabaho to help family survive. Moved to Manila at 15 in 1993, carrying only small bag with few clothes at dreams of somehow earning enough to send money back home. Initial work was selling dono, teas on streets, then working construction sites for daily wage of approximately 100 pesos, then discovering boxing not as sport, but as survival mechanism, as way to earn $20 per fight in small provincial venues where betting on outcomes was primary revenue source. Ang journey from extreme poverty to becoming one of wealthiest Filipinos in history, earning hundreds of millions of dollars through boxing career spanning 1995 to 2021, winning world championships in unprecedented 8 different weight divisions, becoming international icon recognized globally, then transitioning to politics, serving as congressman 2010, 2012, and senator 2016 to 2022, is well-documented story of rags to riches na inspiring to millions. Pero what separates Manny from other successful people who came from poverty ay ang fact na genuinely hindi siya nakalimot. Hindi naging desensitized to suffering despite living in mansions worth hundreds of millions, owning private jets, wearing expensive watches, having access to any luxury imaginable. Deep inside his psyche ang memories ng being hungry child, ng being homeless teenager sleeping sa karton sa Luneta Park, ng being desperate young fighter willing to risk brain damage for few hundred pesos prize money, remained vivid, remained painful, remained motivating force behind his actions even decades later. When material comfort was no longer issue, ang entry niya sa politics starting 2010 was controversial from beginning. Critics argued na boxers should stick to sports, that Manny lacked education having dropped out at grade 6 level, that he had no experience in governance or policy making, that his campaign was purely personality-driven trading on fame rather than qualifications, accusations that had merit. Kasi objectively Manny's academic credentials were minimal, his understanding of complex legislative processes was limited, his his were often rambling, mixing Tagalog and Bisaya and English inconsistently. Pero what critics missed was ang genuine compassion, ang authentic connection with masses who saw themselves reflected in his story, ang willingness to learn despite limitations, at most importantly ang financial independence that meant unlike typical politicians, he didn't need corruption to maintain lifestyle, already had more money than could spend in lifetime from boxing. Meaning political position was about service, not enrichment. Rare quality in Philippine politics where personal profit is often primary motivation. First term as congressman representing Sarangani Province 2010-2012 was learning experience. Manny admittedly struggled with legislative work. Attendance at congressional sessions was poor because still actively boxing, including international fights requiring months of training abroad. Passed only few bills, mostly symbolic sports-related legislation. Received criticism for being absentee congressman collecting salary while focusing on boxing career. Valid criticisms that Manny himself acknowledged, saying, "I'm learning. Politics is harder than boxing, but I'm trying my best." Humility that was refreshing compared to typical political arrogance. During this period, he began developing a network of advisors, policy experts, community organizers who helped translate his instinctive compassion for poor into concrete programs, establishing a pattern that would define his political career. Using personal wealth to fund direct assistance while learning how to create systemic change through legislatio. Second political role as senator starting 2016 showed evolution. More present at Senate sessions. More engaged in committee work, particularly on labor issues, sports development, poverty alleviation programs, vocal critic of corruption even within own political party, willing to take unpopular positions if aligned with principles, most notably his opposition to then-President Duterte's drug war starting 2016, when Manny publicly criticized extrajudicial killings, saying, "Taking life without due process is wrong even if target is criminal. We are Christian nation. We should value human life." Statement that created rift with Duterte, who had initially been political ally. Pero Manny maintained position despite political costs, kasi moral conviction outweighed tactical considerations. Another instance was his investigation into corruption within Philippine Health Insurance Corporation, PhilHealth, starting 2020, exposing billions of pesos in missing funds, filing cases against officials, fearing some stolen money. Work that made enemies among powerful interests pero endeared him to ordinary citizens, who saw funds meant for their healthcare being stolen. Pero ang most significant aspect ng Manny's political career, ang thing that truly differentiated him from typical Philippine politicians, wasn't legislative work or committee assignments or Senate speeches. It was consistent pattern ng direct personal assistance to poor funded entirely from own pocket. Estimated conservative calculation based on public records at documented cases suggests Manny spent approximately 2 billion pesos or $40 million of personal money between 2010 and 2024 on charitable activities, broken down as follows. Regular distribution ng food packages to poor communities estimated 10 million pesos monthly, scholarship programs for poor students covering tuition from elementary through college, approximately 50 million pesos annually. Construction of community centers, basketball courts, chapels in poor areas, approximately 100 million pesos over 14 years. Emergency assistance during natural disasters, often being first responder with cash at supplies while government agencies were still processing paperwork. Medical assistance paying hospital bills for constituents who couldn't afford treatment. Housing assistance helping families rebuild after fires or typhoons. Feeding programs particularly during COVID-19 pandemic, when millions lost jobs, numbers that sound almost impossible, pero were verified through multiple sources including recipients, local officials who coordinated distributions, media documentation. Ang October 28, 2024 incident in Tondo was perfect example of this pattern, pero also revealed something deeper about Manny's character, about what drove him beyond simple charity into genuine solidarity with suffering. Fire had broken out October 26, approximately 3:00 a.m. a densely packed squatter area called Happy Land, ironic name for place where approximately 5,000 families lived in structures made from scrap wood, corrugated metal, tarpaulin, cardboard, built inches apart, creating timed, earbox conditions where single spark could destroy everything. Fire started allegedly from faulty electrical wiring in one house, spread rapidly fueled by flammable materials at strong wind, burned for approximately 4 hours before being controlled by firefighters. By time flames were extinguished, approximately 300 houses were completely destroyed. Roughly 1,500 people were left homeless. Official casualty count was miraculously low. Only 5 dead, mostly elderly, who couldn't escape quickly enough. Approximately 30 injured, mostly from burns or smoke inhalation. Pero devastation was total for survivors who lost literally everything. Government response was typical bureaucratic inefficiency. Red Cross set up temporary shelter at nearby covered court. DSWD promised assistance, pero paperwork would take weeks to process. Local politicians arrived for photo opportunities, promising help that might or might not materialize. Para sa mga victims, ang immediate reality was asli, epping sa cold concrete floor ng evacuation center. Eating instant noodles donated by private citizens. Having no clothes except what they wore during fire. Having no money. No identification papers which burned. No prospects for rebuilding. Kasi squatter status meant no legal claim to land, no collateral for loans. Essentially destitute. Manny learned about fire through news reports. October 26th, was in General Santos at that time doing training at personal business activities. Immediately called his Manila-based staff, instructing them to assess situation and prepare assistance. Pero unlike typical politician response of sending representatives with cameras to document generosity, Manny decided to go personally, flew to Manila, October 27th, spent that day personally withdrawing cash from multiple bank accounts, approximately 5 million pesos or $100,000, dividing money into individual envelopes containing 10,000 pesos each, enough to help 500 families start rebuilding. Also purchased separately approximately 2 million pesos worth of relief goods, rice, canned goods, cooking oil, hygiene products, clothing, rented trucks to transport supplies. Then October 28th early morning around 5 a.m. arrived at Tondo personally, deliberately avoiding media, specifically instructing staff not to inform RA. Reporters kasi intention was genuine help, not publicity. Ang scene when Manny walked into Happyland area approximately 6 a.m. was surreal. Area was still smoking ruins, smell of burnt wood at plastic hung heavy in air. Survivors were picking through rubble looking for anything salvageable. When someone recognized Manny, initially didn't believe. Hindi totoo yan, imposible na pumunta dito si Pacquiao, baka lookalike lang. Pero as more people saw him, recognition spread. Within minutes, approximately 200 people surrounded him. Mixture of disbel, gift, joy, desperate hope. Manny addressed crowd simply. I came to help. I know what it's like to have nothing. I want to give you something to start again. Walang kailangan ibigay sa akin. Walang kailangan gawin. This is gift from my heart to yours. Words spoken in Tagalog mixed with Bisaya that resonated deeply with crowd predominantly composed of provincial migrants, similar background to his own. Distribution process took approximately 5 hours. Manny personally handed envelope to each family head, shaking hands, asking names, asking what they needed, listening to stories, crying with them, praying with them, behavior completely inconsistent with typical politician who would take quick photos then leave. Staff tried to hurry him several times kasi standing in scorching heat under sun without shade, wearing simple jeans and t-shirt soaked with sweat, clearly exhausted. Pero he refused. Hazy people lost everything. Least I can do is spend time with them, make them feel valued. Insisted on staying until every single family received assistance, approximately 1 p.m. When finished, he was dehydrated, sunburned, emotionally drained, pero satisfied. Left quietly without press conference, without posting on social media, without claiming credit. Pero ang hindi niya alam, habang tumutulong siya sa Tondo, isang group ng senior politicians sa Malacanang ay nag-meet secretly, discussing kung paano i-neutralize si Manny politically, kasi his genuine connection with masses was threatening their corrupt system, at ang plot na ginawa nila would force Manny into most difficult decision of his political career. Continue helping people at risk, losing everything including life, o mag-retreat to safety at abandon ang mahihirap na umaasa sa kanya. At ang choice niya would shock even his closest allies. Kinabukasan ng Tondo visit, October 29, 2024, approximately alas 9 ng umaga, Manny was at his Manila residence sa Forbes Park, recovering from previous day's exhaustion when he received unexpected call from Senate President na si Juan Miguel Zubiri. Tone was unusually serious. Manny, kailangan natin mag-usap urgently, private lang, walang staff. Can you come to my office by 11 a.m.? Request that was odd, kasi normal parliamentary business could be discussed openly. Pero urgency in Zubiri's voice suggested something significant. Manny agreed. Arrived at Senate President's office Pasay approximately 10:50 a.m. Found Zubiri looking stressed, windows closed, doors locked, unusual security suggesting serious conversation ahead. Manny, you need to stop what you're doing, Zubiri began without preamble, statement so unexpected that Manny thought he misheard. Stop what specifically? My Senate work? My boxing exhibitions? Need to be clearer. Attempting to understand, Zubiri shook head. Stop the direct cash distributions, stop the personal charity work. Stop going to disaster areas without coordination with proper authorities. You're creating problems na mas malaki than you realize. Explanation delivered with genuine concern pero also clear political calculation. Manny felt confusion shifting to anger. Problems. Tumutulong ako sa mahihirap. How is that creating problems? Bakit ba dapat ako tumigil sa pagtulong sa kapwa ko? Zubiri sighed, pulled out folder containing approximately 20 pages of what appeared to be intelligence reports, surveillance photos, transcribed conversations. Because powerful people are threatened by you. Tiningnan ko itong reports from various sources. Presidential Security Group, some senators who are aligned with administration, even foreign entities who have business interests dito. Everyone is concerned about your growing popularity with masses. You're not just politician anymore. You re-becoming movement. At movements are dangerous to established order. Revealing that Manny's charity work was being monitored at highest levels. Interpreted not as benevolence pero as political organizing. Last week's Tondo visit, officially walang media, kasi you requested privacy. Pero did you know na 500 people posted about it on social media? Videos taken on phones showing you crying with fire victims, giving money personally, refusing to leave until everyone was helped. Those videos have been viewed cumulatively 20 million times, shared hundreds of thousands of times. Comments are overwhelmingly supportive of you at critical of government, saying things like, why is private citizen doing government's job? At Manny for President 2028, you're inadvertently undermining current administration. Manny processed this information, initially wanted to dismiss as paranoia pero Zubiri's evidence was compelling. So ano gusto nila gawin ko? Stop helping people kasi nag-threaten sa politicians na hindi tumutulong. That's insane, that's exactly what's wrong with our system. Voice rising with frustration, Zubiri raised hands, calming gesture. I personally agree with you. I think what you're doing is noble, pero I'm warning you as friend. There are elements planning to neutralize you. I've heard whispers about potential cases to be filed, tax investigations into your charitable foundation, possible disqualification suits for next election based on technicalities, even darker rumors about threats to your safe. Ty, these people play dirty when threatened, and you're threatening them simply by being genuine. Conversation continued approximately 1 hour, Zubiri explaining political landscape. Sitting administration was deeply unpopular. Approval ratings were approximately 30%, lowest in decades. Corruption scandals were constant. Economic policies were failing. Pero opposition was fragmented, leaderless, unable to present unified alternative. Manny's growing popularity was seen as potential lying point for opposition. His clean image, personal wealth making him immune to bribery, connection with poor masses, made him existential threat to corrupt establishment. They want you to either join them, become part of system at play by their rules. They want you marginalized, destroyed politically so you can't challenge them. Presenting false binary that Manny immediately rejected. There's third option, continue doing what I believe is right and let them do what they want. I didn't come, If from nothing just to become politician, who compromises principles for survival. If they want to come after me, let them. Pero I won't stop helping people, that's non-negotiable. Zubiri looked both impressed and worried. I admire your conviction, Manny, pero be smart about this, you have family to think about. Jinky, your kids, they could become targets too. You have businesses that could be harassed through regulatory agencies. You have so much to lose. Appeal to pragmatism that Manny understood. Odd pero couldn't accept. Everything I have came because I fought when odds were against me. Every championship I won was because I didn't back down when threatened. This is same thing, just different ring, and I'm not backing down. Resolution that was admirable pero concerning to Zubiri, who knew the ruthlessness of Philippine political warfare. Meeting ended approximately 12:30 p.m. with Zubiri extracting promise from Manny to at least beef up personal security, to be more careful about where he went at when, to perhaps use intermediaries for distributions, rather than doing everything personally, small concessions that Manny agreed to, mainly to ease friends' worry. Pero driving back to Forbes Park residence, his mind was racing, evaluating threat level, considering options, ultimately returning to core question, was helping people worth right? SK to himself at family? Intellectually, he knew answer should perhaps be no. Rational self-interest suggested stepping back, letting system handle problems even inefficiently, protecting accumulated wealth at status. Pero emotionally, spiritually, the answer was unambiguously yes. Helping people wasn't optional part of life. It was purpose of life, reason. He fought through poverty, reason he succeeded, reason he existed. Abandoning mahihirap now would make everything else meaningless. That evening, approximately 7 p.m., Manny called family meeting at Forbes Park Mansion. Present were wife Jinky, children Mary Divine Princess, Emmanuel Jr., Jimwell, Michael Stephen, Mary Queen Elizabeth Queenie, at youngest Israel, ages ranging from 12 to 24, serious conversation about political threats, potential dangers, need for increased security. Jinky was predictably worried. Honey, kung may threat sa security natin, maybe should listen to Zubiri. Reduce profile, focus on Senate work, hindi na kailangan personally pumunta sa dangerous areas, maternal instinct to protect family. Pero surprisingly, ang mga bata had different perspective. Princess, eldest daughter, age 24, spoke thoughtfully. Dad, we grew up privileged pero you always taught us na remember where we came from, na use blessings to help others. Kung titigil ka now from helping people dahil may threats, ano message na ipapadala mo? Na principle only matters when convenient? I'd rather we take risks at do right thing than be safe at be complicit with evil. Wisdom beyond years that made Manny proud. Jimuel added, Dad, you're literally most famous Filipino in world. You beat champions. You came from nothing. You think threats from corrupt politicians scare you? That's insulting, honestly. You trained me to be brave. Show us how brave you are. Challenge delivered with respect, pero also expectation that father would live up to own teachings. Michael at Queenie agreed. Even young Israel at 12 said simply, Daddy, poor people need you. We should help. Innocent clarity cutting through complex political calculations. Jinky, seeing she was outvoted, sighed. Fine, pero promise me you'll be careful. More security, less risks. I can't lose you. Extracting commitment that Manny readily gave. I promise. I'll be smart, pero I won't stop. This family stands for something. We don't abandon people when threatened. Decision made collective. Lie reinforced by family unity, making Manny feel emboldened despite warnings. Following days brought escalation. November 2024, All Saints' Day. Manny visited cemeteries sa Parañaque at Pasay, personally giving cash assistance to families who couldn't afford flowers or food for traditional cemetery visits. Estimated 10,000 families received 1,000 pesos each, total of 10 million pesos distributed in single day. Media coverage was massive despite Manny's preference for privacy. Kasi volunteers at recipients posted extensively. Videos showing Manny literally mob. Bed by grateful people went viral. Comment sections were mixture of praise for Manny at criticism of government. Why is Senator doing DSWD's job? Manny Pacquiao is real public servant. Government should be ashamed. Political temperature rising. November 5th. Senate session where Manny delivered privileged speech about poverty, using his personal story, citing statistics about 23 million Filipinos living below poverty line, earning less than 100 pesos daily, approximately $120 monthly, impossible to survive on, calling for dramatic increase in social services, higher minimum wage, universal basic income pilot programs. Speech was passionate, personal, resonated beyond Senate chamber when excerpts circulated online, pero also generated hostile response from administration allies, who accused him of grandstanding, of using poverty for political gain, of being hypocrite living in mansion while criticizing government, attacks that were predictable pero still stung, kasi questioned sincerity. November 10th, Manny announced scholarship program expansion. Existing program that provided college education to approximately 500 poor students annually would be increased to 2,000 students. 4-year commitment costing approximately 200 million pesos from personal funds. Announcement made not in press conference pero in simple Facebook post. Generated approximately 5 million likes, 1 million shares, 300,000 comments, mostly thanking him at praying for him pero also triggered immediate response from BIR. November 12th, Bureau of Internal Revenue announced investigation into Manny Pacquiao's foundation, questioning tax-exempt status, demanding documentation of all transactions, audit of all expenses, clear political harassment disguised as regulatory oversight. Zubiri's warnings were manifesting. Pero ang hindi alam ng mga kumukontra kay Manny, habang nag-organize sila ng political attacks, ay may naghihirap na bata sa Mindanao na nagsulat ng letter kay Senator Pacquiao. Sulat na hindi dapat umabot sa kanya kasi thousands of letters received daily, pero through miraculous coincidence nabasa niya, at ang nakasulat doon ay mag-trigger ng chain of events na mag-expose sa buong bansa kung gaano ka-corrupt talaga ang sistema at mag-force kay Manny na gumawa ng decision na could end his political career pero would save hundreds of lives. At ang moment na yon ay magsisimula in exactly 72 hours. Noong Nobyembre 15, 2024, approximately 3:00 ng hapon, si Manny was sa Senate office niya reviewing documents para sa BIR audit, surrounded by accountants at lawyers preparing defense against obvious harassment, when young legislative staff member na si Carlos Santos, edad 23, hesitantly knocked on door. Senator, sorry to disturb pero may letter na akala ko dapat basahin ninyo. Kakaiba kasi, different from usual fan mail. Holding crumpled envelope na obviously weathered, address, said in child's handwriting, Manny normally didn't read letters personally, staff screened thousands monthly, pero something in Carlos' expression suggested importance. Sige, let me see. Taking envelope, noting return address. Barangay Tibungol, Davao del Sur, remote area sa Mindanao. Inside was 2-page letter written sa notebook paper. Handwriting was careful pero unpracticed. Spelling had errors pero message was clear, read in Tagalog, mixed with Bisaya. Dear Senator Manny Pacquiao, hindi ko alam kung mababasa mo ito pero I try. My name is Miguel Santos, 14 years old, grade 7 student sa Tibungol National High School. Nagsusulat ako dahil desperate na kami dito. Ang barangay namin ay walang kuryente for 7 months already. Promise ng LGU na aayusin. Pero walang nangyari. Walang tubig except sa gripo na bukas lang 1 hour kada umaga. Walang proper clinic. Walang paved road. Parang nakalimutan na kami ng government. Pero ang pinakamalaking problem ay ang rice subsidies na supposed to be para sa amin ay hindi dumadating complete. Local officials kinukuha ang porsyon. Bebenta sa market, kami nakakakuha ng konti lang. Maraming pamilya dito nagugutom. I know you came from poor family then. Maybe you understand. Hindi ako humihingi ng pera, humihingi lang ako na investigate ninyo, napansinin ninyo kami, kasi wala nang ibang makakatulong. Salamat po. Sana Diyos ay magbigay sa inyo ng mas maraming blessings. Thurston na Miguel. Manny read letter twice, feeling familiar anger at injustice, pero also recognition na ito was exactly ang type ng situation where he could make difference. Carlo, verify mo nga authenticity ng letter na ito. Check kung may barangay Tibungol sa Davao del Sur. Check if may school na ganyan name. Instructing staff to investigate, Carlo returned approximately 20 minutes later with confirmation. Barangay exists, approximately 2,000 residents, classified as GIDA. Geographically, isolated and disadvantaged area. School exists though listed as under-resourced in DepEd records. Everything matched Miguel's description, making letter credible. Sir, based on initial research, ang allegations about subsidies are very possible. That area is covered by DSWD's rice subsidy program for 4PS beneficiaries, pero delivery has been irregular. Local officials there have history of corruption based on COA reports, providing context that made Manny's decision easy. Book me flight to Davao Bukas. Arrange vehicle to Tibungol. I want to visit personally, inspect conditions, verify claims. If true, then we expose at Senate level, file cases if needed. Decisiveness that staff was accustomed to, pero Carlo looked worried. Sir, based on map, Tibungol is approximately 4 hours drive from Davao City on rough roads. Security risks kasi remote area, potential NPA presence. PNP recommends against unescorted visits by high-profile individuals, outlining legitimate safety concerns. Manny waved off. Arrange security team then, pero I'm going. Kid took time to write letter asking for help. Least I can do is respond personally. That's what separates us from politicians who don't care. November 16th morning, Manny flew commercial from Manila to Davao City. Specifically rejected use of private jet, kasi wanted to minimize attention, traveled with small team, 3 security personnel, Carlo, 1 Senate staff member, na si Attorney Reyes, specializing in local government issues, 1 photographer to document conditions. Upon landing, rented 2 Toyota Fortuners, drove approximately 4 hours through increasingly rough terrain, paved highway deteriorating to gravel road, then to muddy track barely passable, passing through areas where poverty was visible in every direction, houses made of scrap materials, malnourished children, adults with defeated expressions, landscape that reminded Manny painfully of his own childhood, arriving Barangay Tibungol approximately. At 2 p.m. found conditions exactly as Miguel described, maybe worse. Barangay Hall was structure made of concrete blocks with rusted corrugated roof. No electricity evident. Approximately 30 residents were gathered outside, having been alerted by someone with cell phone who saw a convoy approaching. Faces showing mixture of hope at suspicion. Hope na important person might actually help. Suspicion na isa na namang politician na mag-promise lang at hindi tutup. Manny stepped out of vehicle, immediately approached by elderly woman na lumapit cautiously. Sino po ka? Yo? Bakit andito? Questioning with respect pero also wariness. I'm Senator Manny Pacquiao. Nandito ako kasi may nagsulat sa akin na bata na nag-request ng help. Miguel Santos, nandito ba siya? Explaining purpose clearly. Crowd murmured. Woman's expression changed from suspicion to shock to something like joy. Miguel, inapo ko yan. Hindi niya sinabi sa akin na nagsulat siya sa inyo. Halika, sunduin ko. Rushing to nearby house, returning minutes later with thin teenage boy wearing faded t-shirt at shorts with holes, barefoot, eyes wide with disbelief seeing famous senator at his barangay. Miguel, you wrote letter to me? Manny asking gently. Boy nodded, unable to speak. Manny smiled. Thank you for writing. You were brave to ask for help. Now show me around. I want to see everything. I want to understand problems. Then we'll fix them together, okay? Words delivered with such genuine kindness that Miguel started crying, nodding, beginning to walk, showing conditions. Tour lasted approximately 3 hours. No electricity lines visible anywhere. Water pump that only worked 1 hour daily due to mechanical failure nobody could afford to fix. Health center that was actually just room with expired medicines at no equipment. School with approximately 150 students pero only 4 teachers at classrooms with holes in roof. Furniture mostly broken. Textbooks so old they referenced Marcos as current president. Agricultural area where families farmed pero couldn't sell produce profitably due to lack of roads preventing transport to markets. Pero most damning was inspection of rice subsidy distribution. Local captain na si Kapitan Ernesto Di Maano reluctantly showed records when Manny demanded. Comparing records to actual beneficiaries revealed massive discrepancy. Program allocated 40 kilos of rice monthly to each of approximately 300 families. Pero families reported receiving only 20 kilos. Rest was shrinkage, according to Kapitan. Obvious corruption that made Manny furious. Nasaan ang other 20 kilos per family? That's 6,000 kilos monthly, 72,000 kilos annually. Approximately 3 million pesos worth of subsidies na supposed to feed starving families. Nasaan? Manny demanding answers. Kapitan stammered excuses about transportation costs, at storage fees, at administrative expenses. Pero couldn't produce documentation, couldn't explain why costs consumed exactly half of subsidy. Residents emboldened by Manny's presence began speaking up. Ginagawa niyang negosyo, sir. Binebenta niya sa market sa Digos City. May tindahan doon ang pamilya niya. One elderly man testifying. Others nodding agreement. Climate of fear preventing them from reporting previously, pero Manny's presence providing protection. Manny instructed Ati Reyes to document everything. Take photos of conditions. Record video testimonies from residents willing to speak. Copy all distribution records. Prepare formal complaint to Ombudsman, to DILG, to DSWD, to COA. Comprehensive case building. Then addressed assembled residents, approximately 50 people by this point. I promise you, corruption here will be investigated. Officials responsible will be charged. Programs will be fixed. Pero also, I want to help immediately. Tomorrow, delivery trucks will come with full rice allocation for this month, with school supplies for students, with medicine for clinic, with materials to repair water pump. This is not government money. This is my personal money. Pero I give it freely, kasi nakita ko suffering ninyo. And I know government failed you. Announcement met with applause, tears, expressions of gratitude, pero also skepticism, kasi politicians promised before at disappointed. That evening, instead of returning to Davao City, Manny stayed sa barangay, specifically requested to sleep sa house ni Miguel, simple structure with bamboo walls at nipa roof, sleeping on thin mat on floor beside Miguel's family. Grandmother, 2 younger siblings, parents both working in Davao as domestic helpers sending money home rarely. Experience that transported Manny back to childhood, remembering similar houses, similar poverty, similar hopelessness. Talking late into night with Miguel about out dreams. Ano gusto mo maging pag-graduate? Asking teenager, Miguel responded quietly. Gusto ko maging teacher, sir, para makatulong sa mga bata dito, pero alam ko imposible kasi walang pambayad sa college. Realistic assessment of limitations. Manny placed hand on boy's shoulder. From today, you're scholar ko. Full scholarship from high school through college, whatever course you want. On condition after graduate you come back here at teach, deal? Offering opportunity that made Miguel cry again. Grandmother, overhearing blessed man. I repeatedly. Salamat po, salamat. Diyos ay sumagot sa prayers namin. November 17th morning, approximately 6 kabwas a.m., Manny prepared to leave, gathering residents one final time. I came here because Miguel wrote letter asking for help. He was brave enough to speak up when adults stayed silent. Now I'm asking all of you, be brave, document problems, report corruption, support each other. Change doesn't happen unless people demand it. I'll do my part exposing at national level, pero kailangan din nyo gawin ang part ninyo locally. Empowering speech designed to inspire action, leaving with promises that convoy of trucks would arrive next day, that he would return within month to verify improvements, that his office would monitor barangay quarterly, accountability measures to ensure follow-through. Drive back to Davao City was mostly silent. Manny processing emotions, anger at system that allowed such poverty to persist, frustration that government programs meant to help were corrupted, pero also hope na individual actions could make difference. Arriving Davao approximately 11 a.m., immediately called press conference at hotel. Media quickly assembled kasi news that Pacquiao was in Davao had leaked. Approximately 50 journalists present. Manny detailed everything. Miguel's letter, Condit, Ayons in Tibungol, corruption of local officials, documented evidence of subsidy theft. This is reality of Philippines. Programs exist on paper, pero implementation is corrupted. Mahihirap suffer while politicians enrich themselves. I'm filing formal complaints pero also calling out system that allows this. Speaking with passion reporters rarely saw from usually soft-spoken senator. Footage of press conference went viral. Tibungol exposed trending, national outrage building. Gancho Bloco 3. Pero habang nag-viral ang Tibungol story, sa Malacanang powerful people were panicking kasi investigation na sinimulan ni Manny would inevitably lead to higher officials, provincial governors, regional DSWD directors, maybe even cabinet secretaries involved in nationwide corruption scheme. At ang decision na ginawa nila para istop si M. Continuar 21.26 Annie was extreme, planting evidence na Manny himself was corrupt, fabricating bank transactions showing kickbacks, preparing to destroy him publicly, at ang attack na ilalaunch nila sa exactly 24 hours would either break him completely or force him into fight of his political life, at ang choice niya would determine kung may pag-asa pa ba ang Pilipinas. Noong Nobyembre 18, 2024, approximately 2:00 ng tanghali, habang si Manny was sa Manila reviewing logistics para sa promised delivery sa Tibungol, sumabog ang news. Major television network na GMA News reported exclusive expose titled Pacquiao Charity Foundation, Noble Cause or Tax Evasion Scheme. 30-minute special investigation claiming to reveal discrepancies sa foundation's finances. Report featured whistleblower na dating staff claiming improper handling of funds, showed egged documents suggesting donations were used for personal expenses, implied coordination with BIR investigation, suggesting government validators, production value was high suggesting significant resources invested, narrated by veteran journalist lending credibility, designed to destroy Manny's reputation for integrity. Watching report unfold on screen, Manny felt combination ng shock, anger at betrayal. Shocked kasi allegations were completely fabricated. Foundation finances were audited annually by reputable firm, independently verified, publicly documented. Angry kasi attack was coordinated. Time to undermine Tibungol revelations. Betray kasi whistleblower was former staff member na si Rodrigo Cruz, na Manny had fired 6 months earlier for stealing from foundation. Caught embezzling approximately 200. Red 1,000 pesos, given choice between criminal charges. A quiet resignation chose latter. Now obviously recruited by enemies to fabricate testimony. Report showed bank records, supposedly proving diversion of charitable funds, pero Manny recognized immediately as forgeries kasi account numbers were wrong, dates impossible. Pero average viewer wouldn't know that. Damage to reputation would be massive, regardless of truth. Within minutes ng broadcast ending, phone exploded. Calls from Jinky panicking about allegations, from staff demanding guidance, from lawyers offering to sue network, from political allies distancing themselves, from reporters requesting comment. Overwhelming flood that Manny couldn't process. Turned phone off. Sat quietly sa office trying to think clearly. Analyzing situations strategically. Obvious conclusions emerged. Attack was professional, well-funded, coordinated with BIR investigation to legitimate, timing designed to neutralize Tibungol's story by changing narrative from Manny exposes corruption to Manny is corrupt himself. Whoever orchestrated this had significant resources at media connections. Wasn't random conspiracy, pero calculated political warfare. Carlo rushed into office approximately 1 p.m. holding laptop. Sir, trending na sa social media, #CheckYour Pacquiao scandal, millions of tweets, mostly negative. They're believing the report. Showing Twitter feed filled with condemnation, former supporters expressing disappointment, critics celebrating validation of suspicions, calls for resignation, criminal investigation, asset freezer, mob mentality na characteristic ng Filipino internet culture, presumption of guilt without due process. Man, I read comments feeling despair. Decades of charitable work being erased by one fabricated report. Sir, kailangan natin mag-respond immediately. Press conference. Show evidence ng clean finances. Expose fake documents. Carlo urging action. Pero Manny shook head. If we respond now, we're defensive, we're reacting to their narrative. We need to flip script entirely. Show bigger picture. By 3 p.m., Manny had formulated strategy. Instead of defending against specific allegations, he would go on offensive, expose corruption that prompted attack, turn scandal into opportunity to reveal systemic problems, called emergency press conference scheduled 7:00 p.m. that evening at Manila Peninsula Hotel, intentionally delayed to build anticipation, allow fake news to spread further. Creating bigger contrast when truth revealed, instructed staff to prepare comprehensive documentation, complete foundation audits showing transparency, affidavits from real beneficiaries testifying to genuine help receiving. Expose of Rodrigo Cruz as embezzler with court documents, comparison of leaked documents from GMA report with authentic records showing forgeries, pero also prepared offensive material, evidence gathered from Tibungol showing subsidy corruption, names of officials involved from barangay level to provincial level, timeline suggesting attack on him started immediately after he began investigating them, connecting dots to show that scandal was retaliation, not legitimate investigation. At 6:30 p.m., Manila Peninsula Ballroom was packed, approximately 300 journalists, cameras from all major networks including GMA, whose reporter looked uncomfortable knowing they might be exposed, political observers, civil society representatives. Atmosphere was electric with anticipation, some expecting Manny to announce resignation, others hoping for fight. At exactly 7 p.m., Manny walked in wearing simple barong, no entourage, no lawyers flanking him, just him carrying folder, approach. At podium looked directly into cameras, began speaking in Tagalog mixed with English. Tone was calm pero determined. Magandang gabi, I called this press conference to address allegations made against my charitable foundation, pero also to reveal why those allegations were made, who benefits from destroying my credibility, at what this really represents about state of our nation, opening that immediately reframed conversation. First, regarding specific claims na funds were diverted for personal use. I have here complete audited financial statements from 2010 to present, 14 years of records, audited by S.G.V. and Company, one of most respected firms globally, showing every peso donated, every peso spent, every beneficiary helped, available for examination by any journalist, any investigator, anyone who wants truth. Placing thick folder on podium. I challenge GMA News to produce authentic source of their leaked documents, to reveal identity of their whistleblower. Kasi I can prove documents are forgeries at whistleblower is convicted embezzler na galit, kasi nahuli ko siya nagnakaw. Exposing Lee, directly. Pero then pivoted to offensive. Pero mas importante than defending myself is revealing why attack happened now. Who benefits from discrediting me? Answer is simple. I exposed corruption in Tibungol, Davao del Sur, documented theft of rice subsidies meant for starving families, identified officials responsible, promised to file cases. At within 48 hours, this fabricated scandal appears. Coincidence? No. This is retaliation. This is how system protects itself. When someone threatens corrupt network, they don't debate facts. They destroy credibility through character assassination. Narrative that resonated deeply with audience not familiar with Philippine political tactics. Continued revealing names. Investigation in Tibungol implicated Barangay Captain Ernesto Di Maano, pero also Municipal Mayor of Town, Provincial DSWD Director, at based on spending patterns, likely Regional Director. We're talking about syndicate na systematically steals from poorest Filipinos across multiple provinces, approximately 50 million pesos annually, based on conservative estimates. I filed complaints with Ombudsman, COA, DILG, at immediately after, attack on me began, orchestrated, I people with resources to hire hackers para gumawa ng fake documents. People with media connections para magplant ng fake story, people with political power para gumamit ng government agencies like BIR as weapons, exposing conspiracy comprehensively, then showed evidence. Projected on screen behind him were screenshots ng social media posts from GMA reporter, showing dinner meeting with known Davao del Sur politician 1 week before expose aired, suggesting coordination. Showed analysis ng fake bank documents proving forgery through metadata inconsistencies, showed timeline proving impossible sequence, documents allegedly from July 2024, pero showing transactions dated after they were supposedly leaked, Basic inconsistencies that professional journalist should have caught pero didn't kasi motivation wasn't truth pero destruction. This is not journalism, this is propaganda. At GMA News should be ashamed for airing without verification, direct accusation that made reporters shift uncomfortably. Final section of press conference was call to action. To fellow Filipinos watching, you have choice. Believe fabricated scandal designed to protect corrupt officials, or believe 14 years of documented charitable work. Thousands of beneficiaries who can testify to help received, transparent finances open for inspection. Choice should be obvious. Pero even if you doubt me, even if you believe worst, I'm not stopping. Tomorrow delivery trucks go to Tibungol as promised. Next week we expand INV. Instigation to neighboring barangays. Next month we expose corruption nationally. They can destroy my reputation, pero they cannot stop truth. They cannot stop justice. And they definitely cannot stop me from helping mahihirap. Kasi that's my purpose beyond politics, beyond fame, beyond everything. Defiant conclusion delivered with intensity that generated spontaneous applause from journalists that normally remain neutral. Q&A session lasted approximately 1 hour. Manny answered every question directly, provided documentation for every claim, remained calm even when asked hostile questions. Performance was masterful demonstration ng media management. By end approximately 9 p.m., narrative had shifted completely. Social media trends changed from Pacquiao scandal to Pacquiao truth. Journalists were fact-checking GMA report finding holes. Public opinion was swinging back toward support. Rodrigo Cruz, the whistleblower, was exposed online with his embezzlement conviction going viral. GMA News issued tepid clarification, essentially admitting they didn't verify documents properly. Damage control, pero too late. Credibility destroyed. November 19th morning, as promised, convoy of trucks arrived to Tibungol carrying approximately 10 tons ng rice, 2 tons ng canned goods, medical supplies worth approximately 500,000 pesos, school supplies for 150 students, materials to repair water pump, total value approximately 2 million pesos, distributed personally by Manny, who returned despite security concerns. Distribution documented extensively on social media by residents with phones, videos showing grateful families, crying grandmothers, children singing thank you song they composed, Miguel proudly wearing new school uniform standing beside Manny. Contrast between images of genuine joy sa Tibungol versus manufactured scandal sa Manila was stark, obvious to anyone paying attention. But victory was temporary. November 20th, Manny received credible death threat. Anonymous text message sent to personal phone somehow obtained despite being private number. Message read, "Stop investigating or you won't live to run for president. This is not joke. You have family to think about, back off now." Accompanied by photo of Forbes Park mansion taken from outside, proving sender had physical access. Threat was serious enough that PNP recommended temporary relocation, increased security to 24-hour armed detail, restriction of movements. Jinky was terrified, begging Manny to stop investigation, to focus on safe Senate work, to think about children, pero Manny refused. "If I back down now, every corrupt official knows exactly how to stop me. Threaten violence and I'll quit. That's not legacy I want to leave. I need to show that principles matter more than safety." Conviction that was admirable pero concerning. Pero ang hindi alam ni Manny, death threat wasn't bluff. Syndicate behind subsidy corruption had already hired team, professional mercenaries disguised as NPAs, with orders to kill him during his next visit to Mindanao scheduled for November 25. Plan was detailed, sophisticated, nearly foolproof. At ang only reason he would survive is kasi ang mysterious text message he would receive on November 24 from unknown number, message containing single sentence na would save his life, pero would also see him into most dangerous confrontation of his entire career. Confrontation that would happen sa exactly 72 hours and would determine whether justice exists in Philippines or whether corruption has completely won. Bloco 5 plus as conclusão. Tuohantos palabras. Noong Nobyembre 24, 2024, approximately alas 11 ng gabi, habang si Manny was sa Forbes Park mansion reviewing security protocols para sa scheduled Mindanao trip kinabukasan, His phone buzzed. Unknown number. Normally wouldn't answer pero something made him swipe to accept. Screen showed message. Ambush planned for November 25th. Highway kilometer marker 47. Davao Gensan Road, $2 p.m. 10 shooters. Inside job in your security team. Don't go or change route. You're being warned by someone who knows because conscience still works. Message disappeared after 10 seconds. Self-destructing, suggesting sophisticated sender. Manny screenshot before vanish, pero was too late. Called immediately PNP Chief of Security Detail, Colonel Mendoza, reporting threat. Requesting route change at personnel investigation. Colonel seemed concerned, pero also dismissive. Sir, we get threats regularly. This is probably hoax designed to disrupt your schedule. We have protocols in place, security is tight, I recommend proceeding as planned. Response that should have been reassuring. Pero something in tone bothered Manny. Too casual, too quick to dismiss. Exactly wrong response to cred. Eyeball threat. Seed of doubt planted. Colonel, I want complete background check on all 20 security personnel assigned to Mindanao trip. By morning, non-negotiable. Ordering despite resistance, Colonel reluctantly agreed. By 3:00 a.m. November 25th, background check revealed unsettling information. 2 security personnel had recent unexplained deposits of bank accounts, approximately 200,000 pesos each. Deposits occurred November 15th, exactly when Tibungol investigation became public. Both personnel were assigned to advance team na scout route at secure checkpoints. Both would know exact timing at location ng convoy. Circumstantial pero suspicious. Manny confronted Colonel Mendoza with findings. Colonel's reaction was telling. Defensive rather than concerned. Sir, those could be legitimate personal transactions. We can't accuse people without evidence. Maybe loans, maybe family gifts. Protecting personnel instead of investigating. Red flag indicating Colonel himself might be compromised. Decision had to be made quickly. Cancel Mindanao trip entirely, appearing to back down from threats. Proceed with compromised security risking death. A third option that Manny devised. Radical pero effective. Proceed pero without official security. Travel incognito with only trusted people. Catch conspirators in act. Expose plot publicly. Dangerous pero would prove corruption went to highest levels. Called emergency meeting with only people he absolutely trusted. Jinky. Jimuel. Attorney Reyes. At S. Surprisingly, Carlo, the young staff member na walang possible corruption. Kasi too junior to be targeted. Explained plan. Reception was predictably mixed. Jinky was adamantly opposed. This is insane, you're talking about going to place where killers are waiting. Without security, that's suicide, I can't accept this. Maternal fear overriding everything else. Pero Manny explained patiently. If I cancel, they win. If I go with security, I die, kasi security is compromised. Pero if I go secretly, they're waiting in wrong place. I complete trip safely. At we expose plot with evidence. Only way to win. Logic was sound pero didn't make less dangerous. Jimuel surprisingly supported. Dad, you taught me to fight when scared, to stand up to bullies, this is same thing. You need to fight. Pero we go with you, extra protection, family supporting family. Offering that Manny appreciated pero rejected. Too dangerous for you pero I accept Carlo at Attorney Reyes if they're willing. Turning to staff members who nodded acceptance despite obvious fear. Plan was executed starting 5 a.m. Manny's official convoy departed Forbes Park as scheduled with decoy and vehicle disguised as him, full security detail, heading toward NAIA for flight to Davao. Meanwhile, Manny, Carlo at Ati. Reyes left separately sa unmarked sedan driven by personal driver, na loyal for 20 years, drove to private airport in Clark, Pampanga, chartered small plane owned by friend, flew to Davao, landing at remote airstrip, rented ordinary Toyota Innova from small company na walang connection to government, drove toward General Santos taking route that avoided kilometer marker 47 entirely. Approximately 1:30 p.m. was safely past ambush point, called Jimuel, who was monitoring news. Anything happening? Jimuel. Confirmed. Official convoy just past kilometer marker 47, walang incident. Pero heavy police presence dun, suspiciously heavy, like they were expecting something pero nothing happened. Proving ambush was real pero targeted wrong vehicle. Arrived General Santos approximately 3 hours ago p.m. Proceeded to scheduled meetings with local officials, community organizers, beneficiaries of scholarship program, conducting business normally, pero without announcement ng presence, flying under radar. Meanwhile, some Manila news was breaking. Around 4 p.m. Leaked audio recording appeared online. Conversation between Colonel Mendoza at unknown person discussing payment for November 25th job, mentioning kilometer marker 47, discussing disposal after shooting. Essentially confession ng assassination plot. Recording was released by same mysterious source who sent warning, followed by documentary evidence showing money trail from provincial governor's office to colonel to security personnel. Comprehensive exposure ng conspiracy. By evening, scandal was national crisis. PNP chief announcing investigation. Colonel Mendoza arrested attempting to flee. 2 security personnel detained. Provincial governor of Davao del Sur went into hiding. Connection between subsidy corruption and assassination plot confirmed. Vindication of everything Manny claimed. Media framed story as Senator Pacquiao survives assassination attempt, exposes corruption network. Public outrage was massive. Demonstrations in Manila demanding accountability, pero Manny's focus wasn't on political victory, was on continuing mission. November 26. Manny returned to Tibungol unannounced, found Miguel attending class, a renovated classroom. Water pump functioning, providing clean water all day. Medicines stocked sa health clinic. Pero most importantly, found residents organizing themselves, creating barangay association to monitor government programs, documenting irregularities, preparing formal complaints. Exactly a kind of grassroots action needed for systemic change. Miguel saw Manny approaching school, ran outside. Senator, buhay po kayo. Nakita ko sa news, salamat sa Diyos. Relieved exclamation. Manny hugged boy. Hindi nila ako matatakot, Miguel. At hindi ka dapat matakot din. You started this by writing letter, your hero dito. Giving credit where due. Speaking to assembled residents, approximately 100 people gathered quickly when word spread na Pacquiao was back. What happened last few days proved everything I said. Corruption exists from barangay to provincial to national level. Pero also proved na hindi tayo pwedeng patahimikin. They tried to kill me pero failed. They tried to destroy my reputation. Pero truth won. Now they're exposed at facing justice. Pero this is not end. This is beginning. More investigations needed. More exposure. More work to fix system. And I need all of you to participate. Document problems. Report corruption. Support each other. Kasi change doesn't happen because of one person. Happens because of community deciding enough is enough. Empowerment message designed to inspire continued action beyond his involvement. Returned Manila. November 27th, filed comprehensive complaint with Ombudsman against 14 officials from barangay to provincial level, provided evidence gathered over 2 weeks. Recordings, documents, testimonies, with assistance from lawyers prepared case so solid that prosecutions were inevitable. Pero knew that legal process would take years. Meantime, focus shifted to legislative work. Filed bill mandating real-time monitoring ng all subsidy programs using blockchain technology, making corrupt harder. Filed bill increasing penalties for public officials convicted of corruption from current maximum 14 years to life imprisonment. Filed bill protecting whistleblowers who expose government wrongdoing. Comprehensive legislative agenda addressing systemic problems, not just individual cases. December 2024 through February 2025. Investigations proceeded. 3 provincial governors were charged. 8 municipal mayors. Dozens of barangay officials. Corruption network that extended to 12 provinces was exposed. Estimated total amount stolen over 5 years was approximately 2 billion pesos. Money meant for poorest Filipinos. Recovery efforts began, pero most funds were gone, spent on mansions, luxury cars, foreign travel, classic story ng Philippine corruption. Pero unprecedented spect was accountability. Previous exposés rarely led to actual convictions. Pero this time public pressure was so intense, evidence so clear, that justice system was forced to act. By March 2025, First convictions were handed down, officials sentenced to prison, assets forfeited, small measure of justice finally achieved. For Manny, experience reinforced core belief. Helping mahihirap wasn't optional, wasn't political strategy, was moral imperative that justified any risk. Speaking in interview with Karen Davila March 2025, he explained philosophy. Poverty is not accident, is result of system designed to benefit few at expense of many. I benefited from that system, earned hundreds of millions while people starved, so I have responsibility to fix it. Some people say I'm doing this for political ambition, maybe you're right partly. Pero even if I never run for higher office, even if I retire from politics tomorrow, I'll continue helping kasi that's who I am. Boy from Kibawe who remembers hunger, who cannot forget, who refuses to become comfortable while others suffer. Impact extended beyond specific cases. Tibungol became model. Other communities inspired by their courage began reporting corruption. Investigations spread nationwide. Culture of fear began breaking down, replaced by culture of accountability. Manny's role wasn't as savior, pero as catalyst. Examples showing that standing up to power was possible, that justice could prevail if people demanded it. Measurable outcomes included approximately 500 officials charged with corruption across Philippines by mid-2025, approximately 10 billion pesos in stolen funds recovered, reforms implemented in subsidy distribution systems, pero more importantly, psychological shift, where ordinary Filipinos began believing that change was possible. Personal cost was significant. Manny spent approximately 50 million pesos of own money funding investigations, legal fees, security upgrades, continued charitable distributions during this period. Death threats continued regularly. Approximately 3 documented attempts on life during 2025. Family lived under constant stress. Pero when asked if regretted actions, response was immediate. No regrets. If I die tomorrow protecting mahihirap, that's death with honor. Better than dying rich at kami. Affordable knowing I ignored suffering. My legacy isn't boxing championships of political positions. My legacy is whether I helped change Philippines from place where poor suffer silently to place where justice is possible. That's work bigger than any individual. By September 2025, when presidential campaign season officially began for 2028 elections still years away, Manny announced he would not run. Shocking decision kasi polls showed him as leading candidate with approximately 45%. The support explanation was characteristically simple. I can do more helping directly than as president trapped in bureaucracy. I've seen how system works. Presidency is constrained by so many interests, so much compromise. I'm more effective as senator who can investigate, as private citizen who can give directly, as voice for mahihirap na walang bureaucratic filter. I'll support whoever runs on genuine reform platform, pero I'm not candidate. Decision that disappointed supporters pero made NSC given his experience. Instead focused remaining Senate term through 2028 on institutional reforms, mentoring young politicians committed to service, expanding charitable work. By end of term legacy was secure not as president pero as something perhaps more important, proof that politician could serve with integrity, that wealthy person could remain connected to poor, that systemic change was possible if someone cared enough to fight for it. Miguel Santos, the boy who wrote letter, graduated high school 2027 with honor, entered college on Manny's scholarship studying education, representing next generation inspired to serve. When interviewed about Senator Pacquiao, Miguel said simply, "He didn't just give us rice and money, he gave us hope, showed us that someone powerful actually cares, that changed everything, made us believe we matter. That's gift worth more than anything." Ang kwento ni Manny Pacquiao bilang politiko ay hindi perfect. Maraming critics, maraming mistakes, maraming moments ng doubt, pero ultim, atela its story ng consistency, ng values maintained despite pressure to compromise, ng choosing principle over safety, ng remembering origins despite achieving pinnacle, in nation where politicians are assumed corrupt until proven otherwise, where cynicism is default response to government, where hope is dangerous emotion easily crushed, Manny represented possibility that different path exists. Not easy path, not safe path, pero path aligned with justice, with compassion, with fundamental human dignity, legacy that transcends politics at inspires generations. Proof na ang tanging politiko na laging nariyan para sa mahihirap ay hindi myth, ay posible, at name niya ay Manny Pacquiao.